Welcome coaches to the web tutorial on zone defenses. Before I get started, I just wanted to tell you that I don't think it's a good idea to start implementing a zone defense if you have really young kids, like around 12 and under. At this age, you should stress the fundamentals of playing solid man-to-man defense. This will really help your kids advance to the next level. Now at the high school level, I think playing some type of zone defense can really give offenses trouble. When is playing zone a good idea? Playing a zone defense has lots of advantages. Some of these advantages include, number 1, it can cover up for your team's weaknesses. If you have a pretty slow team, then by simply allowing your players to play certain spots on the floor instead of defending quicker or superior players, it can give your team a better opportunity to stop the opposition. Number 2, it protects the basket and forces outside shots. By playing zone, you can place multiple defenders in the paint and limit the offense's aggressiveness and turn them into passive outside shooters. Number 3, a zone protects your players from getting into foul trouble. By playing zone, your players have to focus on their area instead of their man, so it makes it easier to play help defense. Number 4, it keeps the offense off-balanced. By switching from a man-to-man to a zone, it will keep the offense off balance and force them to make multiple adjustments on the fly, which is normally a difficult thing to do. Okay, so what are some of the when is playing a zone a bad idea? What are some of the disadvantages? Some of the disadvantages include, number 1, if it's late in the game, you don't want to play a zone, especially if your team is behind. You simply won't get enough on-the-ball pressure, and the offense will be able to eat up the clock. Number 2, there will be times when your opponent is just on fire from the outside. Then you really want to focus on contesting every shot by going man-to-man and switching out on perimeter screens. Number 3, one of the main problems with zone defenses is that the boxing out assignments aren't very clear, and it normally yields to multiple offensive rebounds and putbacks. If you see that your team is simply getting terrorized on the offensive boards, then you should switch to man-to-man. Okay, so now that you know some of the advantages and disadvantages of playing zone defense, let's look at some of the rules for playing zone defense. Whether you're playing a 2-3 or a 1-3-1 or whatever else, there are a few constant rules that you must keep in mind. Number 1, deny the ball from coming inside. Try to keep the ball outside. Don't allow the ball to enter into the heart of the defense. If the ball gets there, there are just too many bad things that can happen. Number 2, talk on defense. This is true even if you're playing man, but it's especially needed when you're playing a zone. Your players need to be vocal, talking to each other, telling each other if an offensive player is on the right, left, or behind them, if screens are coming, if players are cutting through, and such things. All of these types of things need to be communicated. Number 3, stay on the balls of your feet. Your players must maintain the proper defensive stance at all times, even if there isn't anyone in their area. It's very important that your players don't get glued to the ground. They must move, be active, and be able to quickly adjust their position. Number 4, active hands. Your players should have their hands out and up at all times, trying to limit the passing angles and lanes, making it as difficult as possible for the offensive player to make a pass. Also, having your hands out lengthens and widens your defense, limiting the amount of space the offense has to work with. Number 5, proper rotations. Your team must be able to rotate and play proper help defense. If your team is slow and late in their rotations, they'll get eaten alive. Number 6, be smart. Know your opponent. If you know that the other team has a hot shooter, don't leave him. Adjust your rotation so that you can easily contest their shots, not giving them wide open jumpers. Number 7, trap the corners. Take advantage of the baseline and sideline out of bounds and trap the offensive players in those corners and use your spacing and rotations to intercept the pass. Okay, so now that you know some of the rules of playing zone defense, let's take a look at some of the most common and effective zone defenses you can play. The first one we want to show you is the 2-3 zone defense. The basic formation is your 2 guards up on top, your center near the basket, and your 2 forwards on each sides, as shown in the diagram in front of you. Now, When the point guard brings the ball up court, either purple 1 or purple 2 should step up and pick up the point guard as he dribbles up towards the three-point line. You don't want to give them a wide open look at a three. In this case, purple 2 has picked him up and is playing basically man-to-man, while purple 1 is sagging off in their zone. Now, the ball is swung to the wing. So purple 4 has to come out for a second to guard player 2, until purple 2 can hustle over and take that assignment. Also, notice that along with purple 4, purple 5 and 3 also rotated over towards the strong side. So, now purple 2 is on player 2. Purple 1 is playing near the high post. Purple 4 slides down to play in between the corner and the paint. Purple 5 plays the low post, and purple 3 plays to protect the basket from any backdoor type plays. Now the ball is in the corner. So, purple 4 comes out to defend. Purple 5 should try to front the post player. Purple 2 now sags off player 2 to play help defense and discourage the pass into the high post. Purple 3 now protects the basket, and purple 1 tries to prevent any type of cross-court skip pass. As the ball swings, it is important for the guards to recover quickly, because good teams will try to attack the top of the zone with dribble penetration. The ball now swings to the opposite wing, so how do the rotations work? The same thing. Purple 3 will come out for a second to cover before purple 1 can move over to defend. If you notice, the guards are playing the 3 offensive players on the perimeter with help from the forwards. Now notice the highlighted area. Most of the times, teams will place a person in that short corner, also known as the Russian spot. It can be a tricky spot to cover if you don't know what's coming. It's tricky because purple 3 was just out near the three-point line covering player 4. So purple 3 had to leave their area of the court uncovered. That's why it's important for purple 5 and purple 4 to be very alert and aware. So, because our players were alert and aware, we were able to trap red 5 as soon as they received the pass. Okay, let's say that the ball is swung, and they try to get the ball in the corner instead of the short corner. How will the rotations work? Again, we should trap the player in the corner, and purple 5 should try to deny the pass to player 5 in the post. He shouldn't simply play behind him. This will make the pass from player 3 very easy. Purple 2 plays the passing lane back to the wing player. Purple 5 fronts the low post. Purple 4 looks for the cross-court pass or the lob pass, and looks to intercept it. This is basically the mechanisms of running a 2-3 zone. Now let's move on to the 1-3-1 zone defense in the next video.